And I'm sharing this story so you can kind of start to get the picture of what our system and government has been doing. But these hawks could fly through the spirit world. So they would be in a Middle Eastern country where they use a lot of hawks, especially in communications. These hawks were specifically trained where they could be in a rafter, they could be watching somebody writing a letter, or they could be listening to a conversation. They then would fly back and they would type out on a computer word for word what they had seen the paper saying. So this was some of the ways they were gathering intel and sources. Would have dolls, and they would have spirits that would possess those dolls. And so, you know, those dolls could get up off of dressers at night. I had, even through the store, one of my friends when I was 15, she was really into the troll dolls. And I had told her I didn't want any, yet she bought me some anyway for my birthday. And I felt bad because I knew that she didn't have a lot of money. I didn't want them, but I didn't want to throw them away because it meant a lot to her. So, you know, I kept them on my dresser, and the one afternoon I came home from school and literally watched as these 3 trolls jumped off my dresser and ran and hid in my room. And I was like, what in the world? We have to search for them. We need to find them and we need to get rid of them. So we did search for them. We found them. We put them in, you know, like 10 garbage bags, and we took them outside to the burn barrel. We threw the bag in there and attempted to burn them, and they did not burn. And in fact, they started screaming in there. And at that point, TJ was like, what the heck is going on with this? And I was like, I told you I'm not crazy. There's spirits with this. And we couldn't burn them, so we ended up like rebuking and praying over the bags, and I bound them to the bags. Then we drove like an hour away from town, threw them in some dumpster, and commanded that they could never come back or go to anybody else, you know, that they had to stay with at the dump. You know, I mean, I can remember in 5th grade, I'd have my teachers, like, I could not, when I did go to school, they would pull out, you know, Dr. Seuss or these basic child books, and they would open them, and I could not read a single thing out of them. And they would, you know, try to phonetically have me sound out the words, and I couldn't understand the concept that each letter made its own sound. So I had a teacher in 5th grade who picked up on this, and, you know, she would read every day from classic novels. And so one day she came and sat next to me and made me stay during lunchtime. And she said, I want to try something. And she pulled out a Charles Dickens book. Okay, now I couldn't even read a basic children's book. And she pulls out Charles Dickens and she said, read to me. And oddly enough, I could read Dickens. Well, then she pulled out Jack London, and we ended up going through all of the classic writers. She found that I could read like these advanced books, but I couldn't read the little kitty books. They ended up pulling in another family member who had married into the family line. And shortly after that was when my proctor took the life of the current queen mother. She was a nasty little itty bitty thing, you know, very tiny Irish woman, we'll say majorly Irish descent. There was a lot of strong German Irish in those lines. but she had kind of hazel hair, curly, and she liked the color red. And, she was the one who had the ruby slippers that they would use for dimensional travel. And she always had this scepter that was basically Ashtaroth scepter. So it had like a little kind of swirl on the top of it. But with that scepter, she would hit people in the back of their heels, or she would just come out and hit you. Like these little old ladies were very abusive. And I'm going to just give a little freedom, okay? Because as horrible as it is, I really want our time when I'm sharing this stuff to kind of be fun and lighthearted. But as, I shut off the vehicle and everything, as I turned around to grab the pizzas, all of a sudden the vehicle started rolling, and it was a mini truck, and the door hit me so that it literally knocked me down on the cement on my hands and knees. And then the wheel caught my left leg and started rolling up my left leg. And so here's how I know that the vehicle was off. The guy who I was delivering the pizza to saw it happening. He came running out and was like, oh my gosh, what should I do? And I said, well, my leg's probably broke. Just get in and drive the vehicle, drive it off. So he got in, and he had to turn the vehicle on. He had to remove the parking brake, which was on. He had to take the parking brake off to drive it back over my foot, and my leg. So then he called the ambulance, and, they had come and they had cut my pants leg, and, I had tire tracks on the back of my leg, but literally my leg looked like it was squished flat. And the ambulance guy, he's like, kiddo, I hate to tell you this, but he's like, you should probably be prepared. He's like, this looks really bad. And he's like, you probably broke a lot of your bone. And he's like, I'm surprised you're not in pain right now. And I said, yeah, I'm really not in pain. I was sore, but not like, I didn't have any excruciating pain. But he had told me that, probably everything was broken and I should just prepare for that. So then I went into the ER, and my friend, from my work, he ended up meeting me there. And, we sat and waited through all the tests. And then this little old doctor who was there kept walking in the room, and he'd say, I can't believe it. I just can't believe it. And he'd walk back out. And we were like, what the heck is going on? Like, what is he talking about? So probably, after he did that several times, I finally said, what can you not believe? What is going on? What are the tests saying? And he turned around and he looked at me and he said, absolutely nothing is wrong. He said, not a bone is broken, not a ligament or tendon, nothing. Everything is perfectly fine. You can stand up and walk out and go home.